Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a review of the Waltham CDI GMT. So Waltham has an interesting modern history, I guess you could say that. It's a traditionally American brand, so you've probably heard of like Waltham pocket watches and things like that. And I don't think that Waltham has been an American company since like the 50s or like the late 50s or something like that. Recently, I understood it was purchased by an investor, and they wanted to sort of come back with an interesting brand that sort of celebrates apparently some of the sort of the aviation and military history of the brand. And so you have these very modern, very aggressive men's watches that are high end and sporty and cool, and I'm fascinated by these. I mean, you definitely see popularity with brands like this. You know, you have your Hublots and things like that sort of take a very modern, aggressive, technical approach to timekeeping. And I think that there's a market for that. I don't think it's for everyone, but there's a lot of things which are interesting here, and that's definitely worth discussing. First thing here, you have this kind of cool angular case. You definitely see sort of this aviation inspiration where there's the round dial, looks kind of like the instrument, but I like how it's sort of cut off in the corners there, and I like the angularity. The case is big. It's 47 millimeters wide, and actually, in just the face alone, they say is 44, but the case I think is 47. The case here is supposed to be black coated titanium, but if no one told you it was titanium, you would not know, because it's quite a heavy watch. It definitely feels like it's steel. Maybe one of the reasons for the weight is this rather thick bezel, which is actually said to be in ceramic, and that's pretty cool. I've never seen that type of cutting before on the side there, that knurled pattern there on a ceramic bezel. So I think that's definitely interesting. And you know, the overall fit and finish is good. Again, it is not a cheap watch, but I think that you're not going to look at this thing and say, oh, this is cheaply made. It's definitely not. So the CDI GMT, this is obviously their GMT watch, and it's not just your standard GMT. There's a couple of interesting features. One of them, of course, is the ability to change the GMT hand to go east or west as you're traveling. So you push the top pusher here to move the GMT hand one direction, and you push the bottom pusher there to move in the other direction. That's handy because most GMT watches force you to sort of go through just one direction, and you have to go all the way around. And if you're traveling and you're a frequent traveler, that's helpful. This pusher right here adjusts the date, so there are no windows on this dial. There's actually these 5 separate hands, which is a cool thing, or that can be annoying depending on how simple you like your dial. And the smallest hand there in the middle is for the date. And you adjust it by pushing this pusher here. That's good, and that's simple, and that's easy, but at the same time, just given the placement of where the date is, it seems like it would be really tough to not accidentally push from time to time. So that's definitely a consideration. So again, the case is mostly black coated titanium, and there is a ceramic bezel there, of course, sapphire crystal, and water resistant to 300 meters if you are going to go ahead and take it for a dive. It says Vanguard on the back there. I don't know why that is. I like the sort of military plaque, I guess you could say, style case back that's not round and has that kind of, like I said, military look to it. That's cool. That's a nice touch. I've seen similar things on watches. That name sticks out. I mean, that's kind of crazy. You know, Waltham. I mean, it really wants you to know Waltham, and you can see that, and that is great. So I think from a sort of presentation standpoint, they did an interesting job there with the back. So let's put this watch on. And the funny thing is, it's actually surprisingly comfortable. It is not a small watch by any means. As you can see, this is definitely a larger size timepiece. I mean, this is you know, there's entire watches that people wear that are as wide as just the strap, and it gets even bigger. But again, it wears comfortably. This nice rubber strap sort of like, you know, integrates with the design of the case. So I think it's overall well done. This particular version of the CDI GMT is called the Black Matter, and the reason for that shouldn't be surprising, because of course it is you know, a phantom watch, which means it's all black. So there's different shades of black and different textures, which allows it to have any type of legibility, but the reason that it's called the Black Matter or a Phantom watch is because it's essentially all black. If you don't like the all black version, there are others. There's 2 other versions of the CDI GMT. There's one that's kind of inspired by an old aviation clock that's kind of green and yellow, which is neat, and there's one other one which is okay. But this one's definitely cool. And if you like the Phantom look, you're definitely not going to be disappointed with a watch like this. You know, what Waltham's plans are for the near future, I'm not particularly sure. I'm sure that they are attempting to sell more watches within the United States and market themselves. And I think it's going to be an interesting job because on the one hand, you have this name recognition, Waltham. People are like, oh yeah, I remember Waltham. But they don't remember like this kind of Waltham. So I think that even though there is name recognition, there's really nothing like this in Waltham's even remote recent history at all to sort of suggest a product like this. So they're taking a known name and they're trying to build something with it, and it's interesting. Price for the CDI GMT watch starts in the $7,200 range, I believe. But this version, the all black, is the most expensive with a retail price of $8,200. And you can see the full price the full review of the Waltham CDI GMT Black Matter on aBlogtoWatch soon. Thanks.